we're realizing the depth of the effect that the place we call home has on our basic attitude and even our ability to function. The space we inhabit, and more importantly the state that it's in, serve to frame our entire reality, and therefore fundamentally inform our ability to deal with whatever life throws at us. This has always been true, but the amount of time that we're spending at home now is causing this previously subtle fact to become quite salient. It may have been easy to brush off tasks like cleaning into the future before, but now being constantly dissatisfied with the state of our home is totally intolerable while sheltering in place. And it's probably tempting to think that this has something to do with self-discipline or with laziness. And while that is part of it, and we'll address that in a little bit, that's actually only the superficial level of the problem. However you treat and constitute yourself is reflected flawlessly in the state of your home, especially in the possessions you've accrued and their arrangement. And in fact, the framework we're going to take for this entire exercise is thinking of the aggregate combination of all your things like a singular, one-of-a-kind, custom machine. And because you're the one who built this machine, you're the only one who can debug it. And that is what I'm here to help you with today. Now, if you don't do such debugging, you will continue to haphazardly graft extensions and modifications onto your collection of things until it ceases to function totally. Fortunately, the present moment is causing many of us who would normally ignore it to examine this machine. I had to move thrice in 3 months, and each move caused exactly such an examination, and at the highest possible level, an inventory of literally everything that I owned. I had to decide for every item, does it have enough real, as-lived value to warrant keeping? This examination is equally important for someone in a 10,000 square foot house as for the person in a 10 by 10 foot flat, as it is for someone living out of a backpack. See, the thing is, no matter who you are, to maximize the effectiveness of yourself, right, the effectiveness of your very self, you must maximize the efficiency of your possession machine. And to achieve that, you must examine with rigor every element of it. Just because you have the space, or in other words, the personal economic capability to sustain unconsidered excess, doesn't mean you won't be harmed for doing so. You need to realize that, like every choice in life, each ownership choice is consequential. It either adds value or it subtracts value. What we're doing here is not trivial. Consider spring cleaning like the 101 level. This is the advanced honors course now. The goal here is to trim all the fat. Every item must provide value that makes the cost of keeping it worthwhile. When you consider the kinds of interrelations between various items that we own, it's easy to see why this is a commonly experienced challenge. The most important part for you to take from this is that your possession machine can either be efficient or inefficient. If you learn to peel vegetables with your knife, and now you don't need a discrete peeler anymore, your knife just got upgraded. Your whole machine can now do everything it was able to do before, but without having to lug around a separate peeler. Your machine just got more efficient. Now, do not interpret this as minimalism. Blind minimalism is not the solution. That's just reducing your possession count without understanding why, so you can say, look how few things I need to function, while functioning on a lower level. Minimalism and its relatives do provide a useful path to optimization, which is why they're very popular with conscious people, or those who aspire to be. So by reducing the number of things you own, you are forced to consider every item, and probabilistically, your machine will get more efficient if you do that. However, the addition of things can provide efficiency increases just as the reduction of things can. An addition may afford you new capabilities that outweigh the cost of that addition. Now, that said, efficiency through addition is inherently harder, and chances are, if you're watching this, you are suffering not from a lack, but from a glut of poorly managed things. Understand that nothing is automatically on the keeping it list. Everything is negotiable. Our lives and our goals, they're flexible, right? They have to be if we want to have any hope of happiness. To continue trying to squeeze your life as it exists into obsolete goals is a guaranteed road to misery. Our concepts, our frameworks, our goals, they just become more baggage over time, just like our physical possessions. They become things that we hold on to without assessing them, and next thing you know, they are obstacles or they are restraints holding us back from living a life we love, from living a life of fulfillment, living a life that we enjoy. What matters to this optimization is not how much you have. What matters is the degree to which your possessions efficiently serve your desires. As elsewhere in life, quality supersedes quantity. It may seem that the space that's available to you in large part dictates the possible size of your possession machine. I assure you this is not nearly the case as much as you think it is. It just requires getting a little more creative. That, however, is its entire own topic, which we will discuss at another time. The consideration of one's home that many of us are driven to now is not just about our homes and our possessions. It's a consideration of our lifestyles. If you have accrued many things that are essential to your lifestyle and you're still dissatisfied, maybe it's not your stuff that needs reconsideration. It's your lifestyle. This could be a radical notion and not what you signed up for watching a video about cleaning your home. But everyone who has a life that they like tangoed with the radical, and they recognize from their place atop the mountain that such engagements were necessary, and they were not ventured upon after some sign from God. They had to be self-initiated. And maybe this, right now, maybe this is that moment for you. Being forced into such reconsiderations is one of the unexpected fortunes of this pandemic. As I have said before, there are no correct lives, just popular ones. The life that works best for you is the correct life for you, and it is necessarily self-authored. When people with similar lifestyles cluster, it can make those lifestyles easier to live for both practical and emotional reasons. This ease often suckers those who would be more divergent into living imperfect lives and picking up plenty of physical detritus along the way. Then they may acquire things without clear purpose, making their machine more inefficient and causing themselves to become overburdened in its upkeep. Instead of ensuring that everything that they have is useful to them, they've allowed themselves to be conscripted into being a caretaker for their things. Almost invisibly, they have let their lifestyle become dictated by the accrued set of items they have, man being subordinated to the machine. Instead of being a self-proclaimed, boldly expressed person with a fleet of items at their service, they're reduced to a caricature of their purchased lifestyle who fulfills whatever role his or her items necessitate. So look around your home. Not in a broad, glancing sweep, but in a granular, discrete consideration of each separate item. Is this something I use regularly? Is this something that brings me joy or fulfillment? Is its cost? Money, physical space, upkeep, operating, lugging around. Unquestionably, outstripped by its benefit to me. A good answer today may not apply tomorrow, and a good answer from a year ago may misinform you today. Lives change, desires change, values change, priority changes, so naturally the metric with which you evaluate your possessions will change also. The quantity of things that will maximize your machine's efficiency is going to expand and contract along with your goals and desires. Achieving a new optimum is easy. It's maintaining it as opportunities for its corruption appear that is difficult. Most people live in states of disorder that are periodically punctuated by these deep exercises of reconsideration and organizing their homes. They create this new order, but then it begins to decay, and the decay goes unaddressed. And it keeps going unaddressed until it gets so bad that it can't be ignored anymore, and this warrants another episode of deep reconsideration and organizing. The process then repeats. This is because applying great discipline for short periods in between long periods of sloppiness appears easier than maintaining discipline all the time, even though the daily discipline is actually very small. And we think it works because our minds much more readily recall the few days in the immediate aftermath of our big efforts when our homes are orderly and arranged the way we'd like, and it very readily discards the memories, which are the large majority of intervening time where laziness corrupts. You must understand that whatever standard you want is yours to uphold. And far more illuminating to understand is that whatever standard exists, and take a look around your space right now, that is what actually exists, is a standard that you have declared you find acceptable. No doubt some of you are offended, declaring this is unacceptable, that's why I'm here listening to this video. But if you really did consider that condition unacceptable, it never would have evolved in the first place. What you need to realize is that whatever condition your home is in, you have allowed. And that's okay. And if you're declaring right now, this is unacceptable, that's valid, and that's excellent. You are creating a new standard of acceptability right now. And to be true to your word, you shall, from this point forward, uphold that standard. Your past performance is completely irrelevant. Life starts right now. Not tomorrow, today. It may take lots of work to immediately raise your space to your standard, but once you've gotten there, it will take very little effort on any given instance over time to maintain it. The essential takeaway is that maintenance of any standard, we're just using your home as a concrete example today, requires a low but sustained effort. Just as the ocean is made out of drops of water, so is a pile of clothes made of individual garments. A heap of junk made of individual pieces of garbage, and a stack of papers made of single documents. The way to be a master is not by slaying a massive dragon and then basking in the glory of that moment eternally. The way to be a master is by defining your own standard of being, and then, daily, relentlessly, unwaveringly, upholding it. And it gets easier every day you do it. The first day, in fact the start of the first day, the choosing, the action of choice to adhere to a standard higher than your present one is the hardest part of the entire thing. It gets easier every day you do it after that. It's the doing it every day that's the hard part. But that's what separates the dreamers from the achievers. That's what separates the would've, could've, should've's from the did. That's the kind of people who got a gym membership on New Year's Day, and come September, they're still using it. Victory is not a destination or an award, but an as-lived phenomenon.